Welcome to Siri Poetry Library. This is Mostly Movies, where we mostly discuss movies, mostly. Today we're going to talk about a very quick issue about censorship when it comes to streaming. And the reason why we got to hang on to our DVDs and our Blu-rays as long as we can. If you don't want them, call me up. I'd gladly take a few off your hands. But this recent one that had bothered me, I wasn't bothered so much when Disney Plus made a few changes to Splash, or there was a few other little changes, or they put disclaimers on some of their old films to apologize for some of the jokes that it might be inappropriate or might be taken the wrong way, which I feel is really ridiculous, because I don't really think that you should have those disclaimers. Let the film speak for itself. If somebody gets offended, they get offended, whatever. And if they don't have the context and don't understand that Gone with the Wind was made in 1939, and that it was a different time for Hollywood, and it was a different time, then what are we doing here? Like, why do we have to explain it? And the one that I'm going to recently pick on, which is one of my favorite streaming services, Shudder is probably my favorite, because just what you get for the value, $47 a year, and you get so many great horror films. But Criterion Channel, which I believe is a great channel, has a lot of good stuff, saves me a lot of money, because every July and November when they have their big sales, there's so many titles I want to buy. But if they show up on the channel, then I don't have to spend the extra money. But I was disturbed recently when they had on the film The French Connection. My dad had been watching it. He's like, "Hey, Dan, do you remember when Popeye Doyle says that really bad stuff in the beginning of the movie to Roy Scheider, like all the racial slurs and never trust, And I said, yeah. He's like, they cut it. I'm like, no, they did not. He's like, yes, it's cut. He rewinds the scene 10 minutes, and about 5 seconds in, Roy Scheider's walking out of the station. Gene Hackman is supposed to approach him, call him a dumb guinea. I'm Italian, so I could say that. And he tells him never trust an N-word. And Roy Scheider says he could have been white. And then Popeye Doyle says never trust anyone. That entire exchange has been cut from the stream on the Criterion Channel. Now, I understand there may be somebody that watches that scene that gets offended or gets upset by the words. However, the film was made in 1971, over 50 years ago. And is not supposed to be a film about a likable guy. Popeye Doyle is not a likable character. He's in a great film, but he's not supposed to be a likable character that we're all supposed to identify with. He's a cop, he's on the street, and this is a story about him and his partner trying to track down a French heroin smuggler. Why do people feel like these things have to be cut from a movie, that audiences today can't handle it, or it's going to upset somebody somewhere? Listen, if you're subscribed to the Criterion Channel, you obviously have enough wisdom about cinema to understand that certain movies had things in them or said things in them that we would not have in today's movies. Your average film goer is not going to subscribe to Criterion Channel. There's no way. And if they do, they're probably not going to watch The French Connection. So I don't understand why they felt the need to cut this out of the film. And the reason why I feel we need to hang on to these discs, and I have my DVD inside. I have more than one copy of The French Connection, and I might get another copy of The French Connection. Because where does it end? If they're cutting a few seconds out of French Connection here, what else are they cutting on the Criterion Channel, which fans are paying $106 for every year with tax? So why would they do something like that? It doesn't make any sense. So what I'm trying to say is, the streaming services are good, and we love them, but don't ever think that they're going to take the place of physical media. Hold on to your DVDs. Hold on to your movies. I hold on to my Star Wars VHS with dear life, because censorship, I could understand it for television. I could understand if a kid's going to be changing channels. Not that kids watch TV anymore. They're all on TikTok. But if a kid happens to stumble upon French Connection on Turner Classic Movies, yes, I could understand them cutting that out. I don't like it, but I understand it. But when it comes to a paid streaming service, censorship is just wrong. And we should not tolerate it at all. And I urge everyone to tweet the Criterion channel and tell them that this will not stand. And that's about it. Enough of my soapbox. I'm going to be going back to school soon, so there'll be less videos on the poetry and mostly movies. But I'll try my best to still write my reviews for Letterboxd and every now and then stop into a video, talk about recent films that I've seen. I'm probably going to see The Batman with Chris, and we'll give you our thoughts right out of the theater after we see this movie that, God help me, is 3 hours long. Okay, signing off.